So after last week's video, we decided to break down our trip to Darwin to a more detailed travel video. We'll cover Darwin and Richland National Park today, and next week we'll do Kakadu National Park. So here we go. So Darwin is that place that nobody we ever met in Australia had ever been to. I think at the time people were looking at us like, why the hell are you going to Darwin for? But after the trip we were totally surprised, because it was one of the most beautiful places we've ever been in Australia. The city itself is small, but it's nice to explore it. It has some interesting architecture, nice restaurants and great night markets that you should definitely check out. But what we thought was really a must do around here was seeing the sunset, which was the most beautiful we've ever seen. And you can do it in beaches like Mindil or Casuarina Beach. However, be mindful that crocodiles are a real threat around this region, so be careful. There is also the Museum and Art Gallery of Northern Territory, which you should definitely visit if you have the time. We've seen a cool exhibition about the history of Darwin, which was very interesting. But Darwin isn't really about the city, it's more about the untouched nature that surrounds it. Richfield National Park is the closest to Darwin, about 1.5 hours south. So this is your best bet if your time is limited, and it's also great for day trips. It covers an area of approximately 1500 square kilometers and is home to stunning waterfalls, waterholes where you can safely swim in, and that are surrounded by monsoon forests. So this guide is based on our experience there during the rainy season, when some of the attractions were closed, but I'll touch more on this later. When we arrived in National Park, the first stop we made was to see the cathedral and magnetic termite mounds. These are really impressive structures that make the landscape look like a field of tombstones. So these termite mounds are actually very rare, only occurring in the Northern Territory of Australia, so you should definitely check them out. Nature is the best thing we have, you know? Also, if you're curious to know why they align north to south, you should check one of our videos. Afterwards, we spent most of the day chasing waterfalls and waterholes. First, it was the Bully Rock Hole. It is a collection of ancient rock pools where you can swim at. Honestly, it's just begging for you to get in, and its refreshing waters are just perfect for the hot and humid days of the summer. Very closely are the majestic Florence Falls. There is actually a track that connects both, but if you want to save some time, you can drive, which was what we did. A scenic wall connects the car park to the bottom of the waterfalls. There are some panoramic view platforms if you're not feeling like going all the way down, but if you do, you won't be disappointed, as the walk will take you to the wet monsoon forest, which is a completely different environment to the top plateau. You'll be able to see the Florence Creek and reach the plunge pool where you can go for a swim. And by the way, there are toilets, picnic tables and barbecues, so this is perfect for a lunch break. Our next stop was the Tolmer Falls. Now, you can't swim on these ones, but they won't disappoint you because they look spectacular. A short walk takes you to some viewing platforms to both the waterfalls and a green lush valley. Our final destination was the Wangi Falls. They're quite a popular spot, but honestly all the others were more beautiful. It is open for swimming as well, even though there are some freshwater crocodiles there. So these ones only eat fish and are the shy ones. However, it closes during the wet season due to strong currents and because the dangerous crocs can get there. For some reason, when we were there in December, they were still open. Besides swimming, there is a 3-kilometer trek that takes you over the falls and back to the car park. And this was the end of our visit to the Richfield National Park. So regarding weather, as I said before, we visited in December during the rainy season, and some parts of the park were closed due to flooding, but most of these in the other seasons are only open for 4-wheel drives. And we had plenty to do, everything was green and lush, the waterfalls had plenty of water and were actually very beautiful. So we felt like we didn't lose much, so if you are wondering if you should go in December or during the rainy season, we definitely recommend it. There was the occasional thunderstorm at the afternoon, but that was pretty much it. We didn't see much rain, so we definitely recommend it. So another thing that you can do around Darwin is go on a tour to see the saltwater crocodiles. We did one in the Adelaide River, which is an hour away from Darwin. It was called the Jumping Crocodiles. However, they used baits in order to lure the crocodiles to the boat and make them jump, so we wouldn't do it again because we don't really identify with these practices. But if you do, yeah, go for it. It's a good opportunity to see the crocodiles, but I'm sure there are other tour operators that don't use them. So if you want to see a saltwater crocodile, you can do it. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this guide. If you did, hit the thumbs like button. Don't forget that next week there's the guide for Kakadu National Park, so subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't seen, check out our last week's travel video, and see you next time. Cheers.